So it was already the kind of thing that sets off alarm bells in your head. At least, that's how I felt. When I saw that now infamous photo of the director, that's the one right on your screen there, Tulsi Gabbard lurking like a sort of spy, bad spy I guess, on a loading dock at the elections office in the FBI. Had bulged down over her eyes as the FBI hauled away boxes and boxes of ballots from the 2020 election. But as if that wasn't sketchy enough. That photo and all the reporting around it wasn't sketchy enough. It has become 10 times more suspicious over the past week as we've watched the administration struggle to explain how she ended up there. I mean, just listen to this. This was the first explanation we got from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche on Friday. Could you please explain Tulsi Gabbard's role in DOJ activity regarding the Fulton County search? What do you mean her role? It was reported that she happened to be present in Atlanta. I mean, yes, I saw the same photos you did. I mean, she doesn't work for the Department of Justice or the FBI. The scorn, Todd Blanche is annoyed. Can you tell? The eyebrow, all of it. All right, so according to Todd Blanche, she just happened to be there. It was all just that's a coincidence. When in Georgia, why not pop by the latest raid, I guess. So that was explanation number 1. Then on Monday we got a different explanation from Gabbard herself, who wrote in a letter to members of Congress saying, "My presence was requested by the president." Very clear. So that was explanation number 2. A direct order from the President of the United States. Then yesterday, Trump himself was asked why Gabbard was there. And this is what he said. "I'm not involved in it, but they are inspecting and checking the bell." Why is Tulsi Gabbard there? I don't know. I don't know why my own Director of National Intelligence who told Congress I sent her to Fulton County in a letter was there. All news to me. I don't know. Tom Yamas, no idea. So that was yesterday. Then this morning, Trump seemed to have a completely different explanation. We have our Director of National and National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who's doing a great job with Tulsi. She took a lot of heat 2 days ago because she went in at Pam's INSISTANCE, she went in and she looked at votes. Oh, so now it was at Pam's INSISTANCE. So now it was a decision to send Tulsi Gabbard there. That's crazy because I could have sworn I heard someone deny that Tulsi Gabbard has any role with the Department of Justice, right? I saw the same photos you did. She doesn't work for the Department of Justice or the FBI. Okay, there you go. That's Pam Boende's deputy there. After all of that this afternoon reporters tried to get clarity on this question from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. But she somehow managed to make it even more confusing. Did President Trump himself? The president said he didn't know how she got there. And today, he said Pam Boende sent her there. And Pam Boende is number 2 at DOJ says Gabbard just happened to be there and Tulsi Gabbard has the president told her to be there. Are you confused? I mean, which is it? Even by this administration's very low bar, it seems like they're being unusually, especially cagey about this. Like they're either lying or can't keep their stories straight or both. I mean, we already knew that something was afoot thanks to the Wall Street Journal, which revealed last week that Tulsi Gabbard had been given a new role leading the administration's effort to re-examine the 2020 election. As part of that new role, White House officials told the Journal she has pursued theories that President Trump has promoted. To claim the 2020 election was that's her assignment of sorts. And the Journal also reported that she regularly briefs Trump on that investigation, as well as senior officials at the Department of Justice. So when Todd, the Deputy Attorney General I showed you a few times, clutches his pearls when he is asked what Gabbard was doing in Georgia. It turns out senior officials in his own department were receiving regular briefings on her shady project. Maybe even him, WHO knows. And now new reporting suggests that Gabbard's mission to retroactively prove that Trump was a victim of a rigged election is far bigger than we know, and surprise surprise, as in this is not a surprise at all, this is very predictable. It extends far beyond Georgia. Reuters is now reporting that back in the spring Tulsi Gabbard led an investigation into Puerto Rico's voting machines, and that's according to 3 sources. The goal, according to the story, was to work with the FBI to investigate claims that Venezuela had hacked voting machines in Puerto Rico, and Gabbard's agency took on a coordinating role in that investigation, and our office told workers that they actually took an unspecified number of Puerto Rico's voting machines as well as additional copies of data from the machines as part of its investigation. Let me just put a fine point on that, because months before that unprecedented raid in Georgia last week, the Office of National Intelligence, the Director of National Intelligence was the FBI was already working with the FBI to seize voting machines in Puerto Rico on a wild goose chase to hunt down evidence that Venezuela meddled with those machines. Now, 3 sources familiar with these events told Reuters the probe did not produce any clear evidence of Venezuelan interference in the Puerto Rico's elections. Shocker. Of course it didn't. And Gabbard's office, despite confirming the existence of this investigation, denied that it has actually anything to do with Venezuela. They claim that this was all about searching for vulnerabilities in the island's electronic voting systems. That's what they say. But I just want to dig into that baseless allegation about Venezuelan vote rigging for a moment, because we already know that Trump himself has been absolutely fixated on this idea. In fact, Trump himself breathed new life into that conspiracy theory in a flurry of posts on social media, both before and after authorizing military action against Venezuela to topple Nicolas Maduro. And not only that, but long before we knew of Tulsi Gabbard's involvement in all of this, The Guardian reported in November that Trump's DOJ had been investigating the discredited claims of Venezuelan vote rigging. They revealed that 2 promoters of the bogus Venezuela conspiracy theory had repeatedly briefed Trump's U.S. attorney for the District of Puerto Rico and that he had been very receptive to their claims. So there's that, and right around the same time that report came out, the New York Times reported that Venezuela's main opposition figure, Maria Machado, had also begun amplifying those same debunked claims that the Venezuelan government rigged the U.S. election, which of course fuel accusations that she was embracing misinformation to gain favor with the Trump administration. Now, all of this was in the weeks late last fall leading up to Trump's decision to send U.S. troops into Venezuela and capture Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. So clearly, this conspiracy theory was on Trump's their ownest mind, and let's remember here that this Venezuela election conspiracy didn't just pop out of nowhere. It's been around. WHO have been in a while. Most closely associated with Trump's crank lawyer, Sidney Powell. The notorious election denier WHO later pleaded guilty to charges of conspiracy. There she is in many boxes on your screen. Now, in the days just after the 2020 election, when Trump first started promoting his big lie, she and Rudy Giuliani ranted endlessly about how Venezuelan voting machines had manipulated the vote. I'm going to release the Kraken. Very interestingly, you're going to see that Venezuela is involved in this voter created to produce altered voting results in Venezuela, for I can hardly wait to put forth all of the evidence we have collected on Dominion, starting with the fact that it was created to produce altered voting results in Venezuela for Hugo Chavez. We used largely a Venezuelan voting machine, in essence, to count our vote. If we let this happen, we're going to become Venezuela. The massive influence of communist money through Venezuela, Cuba, and likely China. Smartmatic, a company started in Venezuela and built for the purpose of stealing elections. Check it out, I think it's all true. That's just some of it. There are tons and tons more where that came from. They were everywhere, trying to convince Trump's most gullible supporters that Venezuela had rigged the election in 2020. In fact, the Venezuela lie was among the many false claims that were debunked in the lawsuit filed by Dominion Voting Systems. You know, the one that costs the network almost $800 million. As the judge said at the time, it is crystal clear that none of the statements relating to Dominion about these claims were debunked years ago, but Trump and his new administration clearly have not let them go. They haven't let go of any of his 2020 election conspiracies. And this time, there are no adults in the room to keep him from pursuing it. Remember that in his first administration, Trump wanted Georgia officials to find him the votes to say he won that election. And it was Georgia's he said no. Trump has seized boxes and boxes of ballots from Georgia. Now Trump has seized boxes and boxes of ballots from Georgia. And WHO knows what that is, what this administration will claim to have found in them. In his first term, Trump wanted to seize voting machines from the 2020 election, and it was his own Attorney General Bill Barr WHO stopped him from doing. The Trump administration has actually seized voting machines, and his Director of National Intelligence is already claiming they found some kind of significant risk to U.S. elections. Trump is trying to finish the job he started, the final months of his first term. He is trying to reverse engineer proof that the most ludicrous debunked claims about a rigged election were true. And it's not at all, he is not all just about looking backwards, although that would be good for his ego. He is laying the foundation to be able to undermine the next election. He is building a pretense to justify his own interference in our elections so that he and his party never have to suffer another election loss, so that, In his own words, it can't happen again.